Ilenyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senengo adabe hadamadung la baluwole ko hadamadin ilenyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senengo adabe hadamadung hadamadin ilenyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senengo adabe hadamadung la baluwole kon annun hadamadung ka fengo fen dundi akono kono ayanda ke ku senewol ay ke kuti mi yalla ko ata hadamadung mantora madingul one stop water solutions limited ibe janne gambia banko kan annun ye filtarole natal me yalla ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senengo natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalla ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye filtarole natal me yalla ko alse muna fangano la alla pompol la jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang aboholo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natalele 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotalele filter mi yalo ko asidiota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalo ko asidiota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalo ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendeya filter mum boko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical be bondi akono pour ka alla jata kendeya sa hen nim filter sabol be kili wo kili na pansun doku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsimol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia banko.
Good morning. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Thanks for joining us. And we are back again. It's another Thursday morning, and we are about to roll QTV this morning as usual. And I have my colleague with me, Ansumana Eso Nyasi, in the studio. Eso, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Balde. I like how you say that. We are about to roll.
Yeah, we're going to roll the ball, man.
Good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers. We're happy to be back, as you said, and we look forward to another interesting show.
Thank you for joining us once again. If you're just tuning in, it's QTV this morning. This program is sponsored by One Stop Water Solutions for all your water filters and dispensers. They are located at Sukuta Jabang traffic lights. And of course, coming up on our program today, we'll be discussing, the African proverb, and of course, newspaper review with our able Mr. Momodu Mbouch, and there'll be a community watch. High-end Braille printers and 6 laptops donated to Govi by MCJ support.org. And of course, the U.S. Embassy, Mohammed Chuka Juve will be here, and we'll be having a very important discussion. And of course, there'll be a live view presentation of the TRRC report. And on social issues, tackling fake news from during the 2021 elections, and Rabiu Al-Hassan, director, and Demba Kande board member, FactSpace West Africa, will be here to discuss with us. Once again, welcome to this morning. So let's start with our African proverb.
All right, so our proverb this morning reads, treat your guest as guest for 2 days. On the 3rd day, give him a hoe. I'm smiling because I find this very interesting. Treat your guest as guest for 2 days. On the 3rd day, give him a hoe.
Well, it's a very straightforward proverb.
Manam sa gan teral ko kom gan. Si njëlbeeni fan bi. Ak ñaareel bi. Ñetteeli fan bi. Joko mosi mosi.
Waaw joko naka lañ dee ooyee hoe in Wolof?
Mosi mosi.
Ngosi ngosi. Okay. Well, for me, what I learned from this proverb is, a person should not be too much dependent. You should sometimes be able to take up responsibilities. You don't have to be depending on people 100%. We can understand. You can be treated as a guest. You understand? But time will come, you won't be a guest.
Yeah.
You should join the race. you know, to stand up on your own. I think it's very important. But let's hear from Mamadou Mbodj. Mamadou Mbodj, welcome to this morning.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
This
as usual. Oh, absolutely. It's just very straightforward. What is a hoe? It is a farming implement.
Yeah.
You must get up and work. Hospitality has its limits. You know what I mean? Kindness, generosity, all of these things have their limits. And I would like to think that guest, that hypothetical, as it were, guest, on the second day will say, man, I can see you guys. You get up early in the morning, you go to the farm and do so. I want to join you. Maybe that would be the sort of attitude you want from a guest. When you're proud, maybe you wouldn't want certain handouts. You can understand on the first day you are a guest, but you know, one would hope that you will make that effort, make the suggestion, volunteer to actually go before the host comes to you and tell you, I mean, hey, look, you've been here for a while now, and all of these things, that's all quite expensive for us, so you better chip in, as it were. Oh, absolutely, yes. Fantastic.
Well, but that depends on the guest too. I mean, well,
that's true. That's why I said I would like to think. I was just hoping, wishing that you will have that kind of guest.
Exactly.
If you go by our social setting, I think this is a very interesting one, because usually sometimes you have guests, you know, especially if the guest is a fuller man and then he comes into your house, you know, you're giving them good food, they don't want to leave. And,
well,
you know,
well,
they don't want to contribute as
you
well.
You expect us to live? We're having good food at the same time. You know, we are treated nicely.
But you should understand how the human being is like. There's something called compassion fatigue. How many times have we seen it? You know, somebody will come to you because he or she's got problems, and you give the person money and whatever. But afterwards, what do you say behind their back? Oh, these people, they're awful, they're always begging. That sort of thing. So you really do not want that. You just got to know human beings, human character. Somebody can be kind, but don't think that it's endless kindness. It doesn't work like that. It's got to sell by date. Once you are sensitive to this changeability, as it were, in human beings, then maybe certain things wouldn't happen then, because you can just guess, you can forestall certain things and start chipping in. People don't mind that at all.
All right. Thank you very much. Interesting. And viewers, be reminded, this is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde, and I am with Ansumana Esu Nyasi. And we'll take a short break. After the break, the newspaper review with our own Mamadou Mbodj. Stay tuned, we'll be back.
Fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that short break. And of course, QTV is This Morning. And we'll go straight to the newspaper review. But once again, be reminded this program is officially sponsored by One Stop Water Solution for all your water dispensers and filters. They are located at Sukuta Jabang traffic lights. Eso Nyasi, please take us through the newspaper.
All right, so we begin with the Standard newspaper. The main headline on the front page says, Dabo clears air after health scare. My party gets all clear to contest election. UNICEF reveals over 50,000 Gambian children out of primary school in 2021. Group tells IEC to up its game ahead of December polls. And over 300,000 Gambians welcome President Barrow from upcountry campaign.
Yes, and we'll go straight to the Point newspaper. We have the headline, IEC may appeal High Court's decision. And of course, National Human Rights Commission urges Barrow to implement all TRRC recommendations. Barrow discloses over $175 million agri investment planned. And of course, SOC only makes case for change as UDP gain momentum in LRR. Gambia secures additional funds to improve health care. once
And
again,
I think we have the same,
yes,
similar headlines on the Fourier.
Exactly.
Well. Yeah.
And this is the Fourier. Yes, it's all the same. It's
similar,
the same
similar headlines.
the same thing. Okay, Mr. Mboj, welcome to the program once again. It's always good to have you here. Nice suit, man.
Nice
Yeah,
jacket.
Yeah, it looks like a designer suit. I mean, it's nice. I like the color.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
I think.
There is a bit of resemblance here. Is that ash color or a bit
darker than
yes.
ours.
Mr. Mboj, let's start with the biggest headline: Dabo clears air after health scare. Rumors have been going before social media and other media houses take up this particular piece. I mean, that Dabo was not feeling very well, and he is on one of those campaign trips. And now it is very clear the rumors are all true.
Yes, but let's be careful here. What does it say in the paper? He said that he slipped, wasn't it, in Mansakonko or around that area, and he went to the hospital there, but they didn't have X-ray machines, and that meant that he had to come to Banjul and all the rest of it. Yes, rumors would always go on, but perhaps it's a bit of a pity, as it were, around that the hostings have begun.
Yeah.
So, and then this should happen to him, and afterwards I learned that they had suspended all campaigns. I understand that message was brought down from the site and stuff like that. So yes, it's just an unfortunate accident, and one shouldn't make much of it. I certainly do not make much of it.
Mm. Yeah. Well, it's
For me, I think,
yeah.
I think there are a few positive things we can take from this. One, I like his honesty, and the fact that he's come out to speak to Gambians to say, yeah, it's true, I have, health concerns here and there, but I'm doing well, which is fine. I think we should appreciate that. That is what we expect from all our political leaders. Right. Whenever there is something happening or you have all these rumors going on, you come out and clear the air. Right, because and I think when he spoke, it kind of allayed people's fears and all of that, because you had so many rumors here and there, and social media, some in fact over-exaggerating it and saying things that are really not nice.
Because at the end of the time, it can happen to anyone. I mean,
it's normal.
This is a normal thing. But it might be a little bit different because he is head of a political party, and you know the political atmosphere right now, so everybody is looking for something to say. So it's a bit different, Mr. Mboj.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're heading towards an elections just over a week from now. So how would it look? As it were, because around this time, really, you want to project this healthy, raring to go, full of energy kind of person. So having this unfortunate accident happen to you will certainly slightly, in some eyes, muddy the waters, as it were, and then it will take you away from the campaigning, because right now it should be quite intense, as it often is when you're getting closer to the elections. So obviously, there are certain negative aspects as well.
Exactly. Okay, let's move and let's take a look at this. My party gets all clear to contest elections.
Yes. Interesting, isn't it? And
Dr. Cisse.
And Dr. Cisse, yes, they had their petitions have been successful. It seems it was Joseph Juice petition that was it. Successful. Absolutely, free courts, so whatever these public bodies, whatever decisions they take, then you can go and challenge them in court. But again, when I read in the papers, well, the IEC, their communications director, is it Parmatar, Parmakan Khan, as it were, saying that according to, as far as they're concerned, everything was done in good faith and they followed the law and all the rest of it. But again, the High Court decision. So it made me sort of remember, as it were, it triggered my memory on what Salih Tal, the president of the Bar Association, once said, look, the 1997 Constitution, there are so many contradictory provisions. And then there's so much ambiguity as well. Are we suffering that right now? Maybe the IEC relying one provision, one aspect of it, and the courts interpreting it differently, perhaps relying on another aspect of it. So it is quite curious.
Yeah.
To some, I expect, just as you've read in one of the headlines, they said IEC better get their act together because of the coming elections. Come on, we are in a transition. We've been saying this for God knows how long.
Yeah.
So the wonderful thing for us right now is that at least the courts, they're independent and free. There's so much now we need to retest, because we've inherited this bad practice and all sorts of contradictory stuff. So we don't even know what good practice means anymore. So we need to test all sorts of things now before we can get back on track. Really, this is really what a transition means. So to my mind, all of these things happening, they are really quite healthy. as it were. We go into the courts and it seems to be working. We are muddled here and there, fine, but there's a forum where we can go and find out where exactly do we stand, and then we move away from that. But to my mind, I was expecting this sort of thing. It will take time before we get out of that bind, that jamia bind, as it were.
Yes, Esonyasi.
Yeah, I mean, I read, last night, that the IEC may also appeal the court's judgment. You know, but for me, I think, like I said the other day, if anything, there's a lot of positive things we can take from, you know, from these cases. The fact that our judiciary is now really free from any form of interference or influence, you know, by the executive. You know, they're enjoying that independence. I think it's a good thing, and this is a clear manifestation that people can now, you know, go to the courts to seek redress for whatever, you know, they think, you know, whatever kind of infringement they think has been meted on them, on their rights. So I think it's a good thing, really, and for my and of course his party and CA as well, it's quite welcoming.
Absolutely, well, but something else, I have a feeling that something else must happen. The IEC must go back. Was it that, how did they get these things wrong?
Yeah.
Because whenever situations arise, we need to diagnose, as it were, what went wrong.
What the problem
what that's said. Was it the legal advice they got? You know, whatever, organizationally, the decision-making level, whatever went wrong, to make sure that they will rectify that. But it is important that 2 of their decisions have been overturned in the courts. Then they must go back and reflect on those that also the IEC must do.
Exactly. Okay, let's connect that to a group tells IEC to up its game ahead of December polls. A group of concerned Gambians telling IEC. This must be, I know the reason why they sent this message, because what happened triggered this thing.
But we've mentioned it, we've touched on it. This is exactly it, yes, because people are scared, given what happened in 2016. First you announced one result, and then afterwards you had to adjust which really raised people's suspicions and that sort of thing, especially living in this age of social media, conspiracy theories, and all sorts of things. You try to minimize giving people the opportunity to sort of follow the fairies, as it were. So, absolutely. So, it's a learning curve, really, for everybody. As I mentioned earlier, they're also having to learn. And it is true, it will be because of how they behave, well, at least one of the factors that will influence, as it were, what kind of election we have. It will depend on how the IEC behaves, conducts itself, or the police, but the state institutions, how they conduct themselves. If they are perceived as being fair, even-handed, then perhaps that would disarm anybody, you know, any disgruntled person questioning certain decisions. But when they are perceived to be unfair, then that could be the trigger for all sorts of social unrest. So it depends very much on what they do. We also, as ordinary citizens, we have a responsibility. You know, it is our right, as it were, for these institutions to protect us, to do the right thing. But it's also our responsibility to follow the rules and the regulations and the laws, but the two are in a sort of feedback position. If they do not behave well, possibly we wouldn't. And if we also start misbehaving, then that might lead them to overact in certain instances.
Absolutely. UNICEF reveals over 50,000 Gambian children out of primary school in 2021. Well, that's a big number.
It's a huge number, really, big time.
Absolutely.
Mr. Boyd.
So what do we do about it? I mean, we really need to use everybody. Nobody should be left behind.
Yeah.
That's really what's the ideal. 50,000 children out of school, really that's worrying. It must be prioritized. This is really our future. I mean, we keep talking about the youth bulge and then hoping that bulge would yield dividends.
Yeah.
Solid yield youth dividend. But again, that will depend on what we do. Their education, their health, for me, the twin pillars of really how to build, and I call them, these are the gateway, if you like, sectors. Give people the education, give them health, you know, and they have good health care. The sky's the limit. They can achieve anything. That's when all the sectors, as it were, would benefit. So really, this is worrying. Whatever we can do, public-private partnerships, that should be prioritized, really. I mean, we've got sort of 8 priority areas, but really it should be cut short. Anybody in management, you know that really when you prioritize, it's just 2 or 3. Once you begin to give me the whole program, then have you really prioritized? Education must be prioritized. 50,000 children out of school, that is worrying, because that will leave them vulnerable to all sorts of things we don't know outside. This is what happens. Child labor, even the trafficking, because you're there, you have nothing to do, you're not engaged. So this should be very worrying to all of us.
I think it's very, very worrying. I mean, you look at our population size, the age gap, we're talking about the future of this country. I mean, like I said, if you look at our population size, 50,000, really, it's a very high number. And I think it would require, I agree with you there, it would require an all-inclusive approach to addressing this very serious problem.
I mean,
it is all of us. It's a collective responsibility. All of us, in some way, have to, come together and contribute to addressing this problem. Otherwise, it's a serious problem.
Well, there should be a proper way of finding out also the reason why they all 50,000 students have to leave primary school. I mean,
well,
over 50,000.
The paper gives you some indication. Geography, it depends on where you live, and it also depends on certain social norms. So you have any number of reasons why these things happen. It's rarely 1 or 2 reasons. Just as I said here the other day, that the social phenomena are never rarely monocausal, caused by just one thing. They are often multidimensional. So that's it. These are some of the things that we must look into, so that we can redress, as it were, this gross imbalance.
Absolutely. Over 300,000 Gambians welcome President Barrow from upcountry campaign. Well,
yes, how do they know that it was over 300,000? I think we get the bigger picture. A huge crowd, as it were.
Exactly,
yes, but we've been seeing these things all over the place. So nothing surprising in that in many ways. Since the beginning of the campaign, even earlier, you've been seeing huge crowds coming out to welcome the president. And just as we said before, he is the president. So that in itself has its own appeal.
Absolutely.
So one shouldn't be surprised that we are seeing these numbers. That in itself is a spectacle. Whether I'm going to vote for him or not, people will just come out to see it. You know, when you see the convoy, the entourage, the police, the security, that in itself is a spectacle. Everybody will come. But we've also seen other political leaders also drawing crowds. I'm not sure what we can read from that. You know, to me, it is interesting, it should be noted, but in the end, the important bits would be on the day who would get up and go and vote. That is the important bit. For now, I'm not sure how much I can read into this.
Yes, that's the most important. The day is coming, and it's just December 4th. where we will clear the dust. And Eso Nyasi, do we have any other thing?
NHRC urges Barrow to implement all TRRC recommendations.
Yes, I was looking at all the recommendations I said. Then my thought immediately was, well, I do not know what the recommendations will be.
Yeah.
That's one. And secondly, this is a Truth, Reconciliation, Reparations Commission, and we know that with these things, they will sort of pardon some people. Then you tell them to implement all, there might be certain decisions, as it were, that the commission would take that may not be popular with some people. So we really do not know. Let us sort of hold our tongue. I mean, what I would like is publish the whole report.
Yes.
We must all get access to it. So when you publish the government white paper, what exactly you will do, we can judge, you know, how did you take these decisions. Then we can see the proper picture of how, your reasoning in implementing those that you've decided to implement and your reasons for not. Let's be honest, I do not think that they're going to implement all. It doesn't matter what we say. It's just the nature of these things. I simply cannot see it. We've seen it. We've never seen it anywhere else. In all these truth commissions we've seen around the world. In fact, activists and advocacy groups constantly complain that all these governments, whenever you give them recommendations, they never implement them all. They cherry pick. Anywhere, Britain, they argue about it, America. So let us not kid ourselves. So, but then it will matter which ones would the government implement. And we don't even know
6 months
who would win. One cannot assume. They would submit now, but we do not know which government would be in power
to implement those. So I'm not going to jump the gun this way.
And the president, by law, has 6 months
to look at it and act on the report. Exactly. And so is that all?
I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Momodu Mboj, for joining us on the newspaper review. It's always good to have you here.
I'm always glad to be
Anyway, by the way, I'm coming for that suit anyway.
It wouldn't fit you. I'm a slim fit.
Slim fit.
Super smart today.
Thank you very much, viewers. It's QTV's This Morning. We'll take a short break. After the break, the Community Watch. And of course, we'll be having Mohamed Juka Jouf here, and we'll be talking about it. Juka Jouf, and I always make a mistake when pronouncing this. And we'll be coming back after the break. Stay tuned.
We've got big decisions to make.
For this election, one decision is clear.
Who has the most experience?
Who brings the in-depth coverage?
Who brings you most relevant information?
Now is the time to watch your decision pay off.
Live non-stop coverage.
Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube.
Your text messages and election alerts.
Decision 2021 only on QTV.
Comprehensive election coverage.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q-Power, and other Q-Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q-Money, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Your favorite mobile service has done it again. Now you can buy cash power with your Q-Money account free of charge. Yes, you heard me right. For free. Nothing is cheaper than free. So start buying your cash power from the comfort of your homes with unbeatable services Q-Money has to offer. With Q-Money, life is easy. Visit your nearest Q-Money agent to cash in or call customer care on 133 for more information. Don't forget to wash your hands with soap after handling cash. Stay home, stay clean, stay safe. Q-Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Welcome back from. Be reminded you are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde and with my colleague Ansumana Eso Nyasi. This program is officially sponsored by One Stop Water Solutions for all your water dispensers and filters. They are located at Sukuta Jabang traffic lights. Now we'll go straight to Community Watch and we have Mohammed Chuka Juf, founder, MCJ Support. And of course, recently they've donated laptops, printers to Govi, and we said it is necessary for us to invite them over to see, to discuss with them. And of course, there was also a capacity building training that they conducted. And Chuka Juf, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Jaite, you're also welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes, let's start with the foundation. Tell us about MCJ Foundation first.
Thank you very much for welcoming us here today, this morning at QTV. MCJ Support is Mentorship and Community Joint Support Organization. It's a non-profit organization in the Gambia that started way back in 2017. So literally, our main partners are Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, the U.S. State Department, National Youth Council, and also Internet Society Gambia. Yeah.
Okay. We've seen you recently. You've donated some equipments to Govi. Let's start with some of the donated items. And why do you think these things are very important to donate to these people?
Okay, so it becomes very, very, very heart-aching sometimes when you see students, especially students of special needs, would have to come to school without textbooks. And also, if you say we have a national curriculum, and this national curriculum, these students have no access to it. So we understand if you're in a classroom setting for a blind school, they use braille machines. The braille machines that they will use to get their notes in the class, and also maybe read certain braille papers at home. So now, how can we get the syllabus into braille? So I asked Govi, and Govi had no braille printer at the moment. A braille printer that they can actually use to print the textbooks and also assignments or other things that students would need. So this comes of urgent need that they need a braille printer that we provided recently with support from the U.S. State Department. And this particular braille printer has multifunction capabilities, which means it is speech recognition. You click it, it gives you a speech feedback. Equally, also you can also use the braille paper and also the ordinary A4 size paper, because the A4 size paper was a big challenge. If you talk about sustainability, we need to understand what are the resources that are going to be needed for continuity, which means the braille paper, in case it is not available, you can just get the ordinary A4 size paper and then print on it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you look at some of the equipment you've donated,
yeah,
like the high-end braille printer.
Yeah.
These are a bit sophisticated.
Yeah.
How have you prepared and how are you preparing them to be able to make use of these items?
Okay, so we got the braille printer from Humanware in the UK. So when they send you a braille printer, they send you all the instructional videos, they send you all the softwares needed for you to use it. So ordinarily, ordinary printer, you just install it and then start printing what you have to print. But for braille, we have to translate the ordinary text into braille. And after translating the ordinary text to braille, then you print it out. But when it's like printing with an ordinary printer. But this particular printer is not just printing ordinary text, but braille text. So now with the videos and also working with Ibrahim Samba here at Govi, who is very conversant with IT, with relates to braille machines and other areas. Now he's going to be very key in translating that particular text into braille, and also with the guided videos that is sent, and also the guy from UK who is working for Humanware, Pedro Paulsen, will also be at a reach that we can always call if we have certain complications. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So you have any other?
So how about the laptops? Are they also specifically made for special needs students, or they're just normal laptops?
Okay, so ordinarily, any blind kid or blind person can use a laptop. But you have, okay, let's say for instance, let's say Microsoft computers, like Windows computers, you have narrator. When you click on the narrator, it will tell you click in this button, you click in that button. But they have a more advanced software that Govi is using, which is the NDVA or something? NVDA, exactly. So with the NVDA, if you install it on the laptop, whatever they click, it will respond. It is specially developed for blind people. So we were supposed to just go and get them about 2 computers, laptops that they can use. But now we realize you have about 40 itinerary teachers across this country. And these people, they will tell you they have been through capacity building programs with regards to IT. But how can you take them to capacity building programs? And after the capacity building programs, they don't have the equipment to use. So now let's leverage this particular project and say, let's get them about 6 laptops. And these 6 laptops, you give 3 to region 1 and 3 to region 2. And equally build their capacity. Already they had capacity building on it. It's more of a refresher training. And this refresher training will get them into it. So what I told them even from yesterday was, I personally, if a student in a particular school is taught on just how to on the laptop and how to understand what is A, how to understand what is B, it's a good start. We cannot just be too ambitious at the moment. We have to start from somewhere. So this is why the laptops were donated, and this is why the capacity building was done. Yeah.
Let's engage Samba.
Yeah.
Samba, tell us, how important is receiving these materials to Govi?
Well, thank you so much. It's very important, as my colleague had said. Okay, there were times visual impaired students have been suffering, because if you look at the textbooks, most of them they are in print, and then you have diagrams and stuff that visual impaired can't use. It was very challenging. If you look at it, many students, they have to depend on their colleagues to read those notes for them. And we all understand that some of the students, they don't have complete notes. So therefore, the child is always the victim. Sometimes it's very difficult, because some teachers don't have that time or patience to be helping the kids. Because most of the time you go to a school whereby a teacher will just come to the class, copy on the board and just leave, without considering the visual impairment in the class. So most of the time they depend solely on their colleagues, who will read the notes for them, and they will write it manually with the braille machine. It takes time. Sometimes before they finish copying, the next period is there, the teacher is already in, so they have to stop. The other teacher also gives notes. So it's always very challenging. But this embosser or braille printer will go a long way in helping students to have complete notes. Because if you look at it, it's just a matter of getting the books translated into braille, making the required edition, and then printing it into a braille format, whereby a kid could have the book or the textbook sort of. So this will allow the kid to feel the braille and they learn equal as any other sighted student.
Well, interesting issue.
It really is. I mean, I know this is going to help you in, especially for the students to be able to access, textbooks, which you would be printing, but which certainly is a challenge that you're facing, and we have to commend Chuka and his organization there for coming to your aid. But what other challenges are you facing at Govi, especially within the school system?
Well, okay, this printer, let me just say, it won't only help the students, but also the teachers equally. Because we have teachers at Govi who are totally blind, who can't see anything. Most of the time, they find it difficult sometimes to teach. Just yesterday, I was telling Juka about it, that some of them, they have to depend on their sighted friends or family members to read the book for them, so that the next day they could make their lesson plans and scheme of work. It's very hectic sometimes because you don't have people, some don't have that patience to always every day, okay, please read this unit for me, for the teacher to be able to make lesson plans. But with the introduction of this printer, I believe I, as the IT personnel in that school, I will make sure that I try to translate these textbooks into the braille format, whereby a teacher won't need anyone to help him or her to read things in the book, but he or she will only read it through the braille, make his own lesson plan and scheme of work accurately as any other normal teacher. It will also, the other challenges we face in is, though it is getting better now, but the challenges from the school level, I can say, we don't have enough materials like braille machines, which are very, very costly. And most of the time, it's only brought by the philanthropists or friends who are outside. There's a few from the Gambia, but most of the time they are brought from outside by friends of Govi. And then these machines, you look at it, they are very costly. And then Govi stops at grade 6. So from grade 6, they are taken to normal schools with these itinerant teachers, as Juka was saying. So you realize that every child needs to go with a machine. Otherwise, it is going to stop. So look at the number of machines, limited machines in the school. So every child has to go with a machine. So therefore, the ones remaining are not going to be enough. So we face that kind of difficulty. Also, these braille papers also, sometimes they are very challenging. Though thank God now the ministry is at least helping, but the papers are more costly than a normal A4 size paper. If you look at it, most of the time, they are not even found in the Gambia, they are brought. So these are all challenges. We have also, though it's very difficult because of visual impaired, like other challenges we face in the school, I can say teachers, we don't just serve as teachers, but we are also parents. Yeah. Because you look at it, most of these students, where they come from, most of the families, they discriminate totally. They don't encourage you at all. Sometimes, don't be surprised, a child could come to school very sick, and then you ask, he or she will tell you, my mother said, you take me to the hospital. Wow. It means this parent is not ready to take any responsibility towards the child. So the teacher will leave the class and escort the child to the hospital, which may also disturb others in the school. So these are all changes we face. So, and then, because of that also, most of them are not oriented. Because sometimes some people tend to believe that a visual impaired cannot do anything, but sometimes it's because of whom. Sometimes it's too much sympathy, sometimes because of discrimination. They don't tend to involve you in the family. Whereby at the school, we serve as teachers as counselors also. Yeah. Because we counsel them. So then, okay, this is something that you can move on with. We teach them on how to move, how to do other home basic skills.
Indeed, very touching.
How many students do you have at the school?
We have almost 50 students plus.
50 students.
Yeah.
Well, so he said the Govi school, they stopped at grade 6. I think it's important at least to maybe take it up to extend it to grade 12. I think that would be very helpful.
You're right. I'm wondering, once you leave the school and then you move on to the normal
school, you know, before you get used to the system, it's
because when you do not have the machines, then you would need to help you with your learning, and before you get used to the system, really,
it's a problem.
Yeah. This is what I was advocating last time, that this school should be a boarding school sort of. We need it to be boarding, because if you look at other countries like Nigeria, like Ghana, other countries, they are all boarding. Even in Senegal. Okay, because I think I made mention of parents discriminating. You see, in boarding school, that's where kids are trained on how to do other skills. If the child is a female, you train the child on how to cook, how to launder, how to take care of the house. So therefore, from there, it means the child will be independent. Even if the child leaves the school, anywhere he or she goes to, the person will be able to survive. But looking at it, because of not having a boarding school, this is why most of our kids have challenges in movement, and the discrimination is very, very high. So, and then secondly also, we have kids in the provinces who are not fortunate enough to get access to this school, simply because they don't have guidance or parents around the campus, which is a big challenge. It means the child is not fortunate enough to have the proper braille training, simply because he or she is not residing in the campus. And in the whole of the Gambia, there's only one school for the blind, that's Govi. So that's the main challenge we're facing.
Let's go back to Chuka. Can you, is there any organization that you are partnering to make this a success?
Okay, currently is US State Department in particular, and also where we got the braille printer from, Humanware in the UK. I spoke to Pedro Paulsen recently. I was like, okay, we got this braille printer, but we realized Gambia there is a lot of setbacks with regards to special needs schools. You are a company that supplies equipment, and in the UK, very vast in these technological areas. How best can we partner and see, even if a tool is going to be second-hand devices that we can get to the Gambia. These second-hand devices might be outdated, but very helpful for these individuals in this country. So that is one way that we are trying to lobby funds, and equally, I will also take this opportunity to also talk to Gambians. But we have issues in this country. You know, it's not only education. You know, you might have the resources, you have the connections. Look at these problems and then solve them. Most of these problems, solving them is not more than $10,000. You can get a device, or let's say a laptop or something, give it to a student or anything to just start somewhere. So it does not have to be too ambitious at some point, but you can start with the small size initiatives. Yes.
Well, is there any plan maybe to extend around the country, because we have people who are facing very difficulty? Your own foundation, do you have plans to extend at least a helping hand to those people?
So at MCG support, we do not only talk about special needs projects. We also have projects that has to do with let's say content development for other students around the country. Going down to Basi and other areas, you will be very surprised there are certain schools where there is no maths teacher. And now you also have computer labs that are completely dormant. A fully built school with a computer lab, and the computer lab is always locked. You ask them, they say they don't have an IT teacher. And even if they have an IT teacher, what are they going to do in the lab? It's just basic IT. So now at our level, we have partnered with Ministry of Education a couple of times when COVID-19 started for the content development. Equally, we brought in the simulation devices that most people in the Gambia are well aware of. The simulation devices that can keep the labs running. So if you have issues with science labs, we can use these simulations to simulate real life mathematics and science particles. And also with Youth Council, we venture into youth capacity building in various areas. And now with Govi, at the moment, what we're thinking is, we have one device called the Victor Reader. The device is very expensive, and it was brought to us from Humanware. So this Victor Reader, what we are thinking is the content that is developed at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, they have been converting it into audios for radios to play. Even equally, I think QTV radio or something. So now, with this particular Victor Reader, it's able to take in recordings of a teacher talking to you, notes when you are in a meeting, and also read books for you, and also, let's say, audios for you. So this particular one device, if you load this particular device, we want to test this with one student. But our whole aim is, how can we get each blind student in the Gambia this particular device? And how can we also extend, let's say, more interesting topics and activities using Braille? Because you understand, I was very surprised yesterday when they told me the blind students are not doing mathematics. And they are not doing mathematics. It was very heartaching, because mathematics is something I saw other blind people doing. Like I said, when I was starting this project, I was more of an inspiration from my granddad, who was an instructor in YBK, Makotiana Sise. He was teaching blind people with livelihood skills in the provinces in YBK. This, I think, long time ago, I think well before I was born. So now, if they can read the Quran, they are able to do certain areas in other parts of the world, in America. These people are going up to PhD levels, maybe even in mathematics. Why is Gambia not doing mathematics for the blind?
Well, time is against us. Thank you very much, Mohamed Chuka Ju, for coming, and of course, Samba Jaite. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Yes, viewers, this is all we have for you on the Community Watch, and we'll be looking at social issues next. We'll be back after the break. Stay tuned.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build.
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With the touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
You've got big decisions to make.
For this election, one decision is clear.
Who has the most experience?
Who brings the in-depth coverage?
Who brings you most relevant information?
Now is the time to watch your decision pay off.
Like non-stop coverage.
Live streaming on Facebook and YouTube.
Your text messages and election alerts.
Decision 2021 only on QTV.
Comprehensive election coverage.
Welcome back from that break. Reminded you are watching QTV this morning, and we'll go straight to social issues. And we have in the studio with us Rabi Al-Hassan, Director of Facspace, Gambia, and of course Samuel Williams. They are with us, and we'll be discussing very, very important topics, tackling fake news during the 2021 elections, which is very important. We have days to election, and it's important for us to talk about this, for us to address certain things, especially fake news. As you know, we have a lot of media outlets there who are sending information, whether they are sending the right information. Welcome to the program, Sam. And of course, you are Rabi, right? Welcome to the program, Rabi, and Samuel Williams.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much
Let me
for
start
this.
with you.
Sure.
Tell us about Facspace.
Okay, so Facspace West Africa is a fact-checking organization that is a non-profit social enterprise. It is signatory to the International Fact-Checking Network, which seems to be an umbrella organization that has provided code of ethics or code of principles that fact-checking organizations with their sort, globally recognized, are signatory to. So with these codes of principles, we are supposed to abide by them and ensure we are very transparent in the way we produce our fact checks. We are transparent in the methodology we use in producing our fact checks. We have an open, honest correction policy. So anybody at all who picks a fact check report that's meant to help tackle misinformation or disinformation can be able to arrive at the same conclusion that we come to in our fact checks when they go through them.
Are you present in all West African countries?
So we lead projects in Ghana and the Gambia, with Ghana Facts being our first project. It seems to be our flagship project, actually. So since 2019, we've been helping tackle misinformation across a number of sectors in Ghana. We've tackled misinformation in the political space, relating to the economy, relating to governance, election issues as well. We actually conducted a survey in Ghana to understand the ecosystem of misinformation, which informed the way we rolled out the project in Ghana. In the Gambia, we are also leading a project to tackle election-related misinformation, similar to what we did in Ghana. So what we did in Ghana, which is the presidential elections and parliamentary elections that happened last year, we deployed a team that effectively monitored social and traditional media to be able to identify suspicious claims. But beyond the team identifying suspicious claims, we allowed the public as well to be able to send us suspicious claims via a tip line. So we're able to assess the claim, do some investigations to determine whether the claim is true or false, using publicly available sources, then we put out a report for the public. We did this by trying to reach majority of the public, so beyond just publishing reports online, we're able to also publish reports offline by collaborating with radio and TV platforms. And these are the same things we would hope to do in the Gambia to make sure fake news, misinformation and disinformation is not weaponized during the elections or during the voting. We'll try and reach majority of the population via the local languages as well, trying to translate our fact checks in the dominant local languages in the Gambia.
When you talk about fact checks, can you take us through the process of doing it? You understand? Because I know, especially at this time in this country, Gambia, elections, there are a lot of information, and we have a lot of media houses. You understand? How do you make sure this is a real information?
What first would have to let the public understand is that not all the information you hear on radio and TV, and most especially online, is true. Critical of information you hear across all media platforms. We trust traditional media platforms like QTV and radio platforms because there is a sieving process in producing the news. So for mainstream media, we understand that the sieving process ensures that whatever information is put out on TV, on radio, are accurate. But there are times things slip through, especially because some of these platforms go onto social media to source for breaking news. So if we set that that parameter, then it would be next for us to encourage the public that there are ways and means to be able to identify false information when you see them. The first being that you shouldn't read a headline and think you understand the whole context of a story. The headline doesn't tell the whole story. You should pay attention to the kind of language that is used in stories, because for a credible platform like this, we would expect that there will be some thorough work with whatever news is put out there, and the quality of language would be would not be compromised. So you wouldn't see very basic mistakes in text that are produced by this platform. So when you read a story that is connected to that someone claims is coming from this network, and you are seeing lots of grammatical errors, then you know that this is something you should pay attention to. When you look at the date, pay attention to the date as well, because there are times that stories that are very old are brought up during crucial times, basically to whip sentiments and cause chaos. So you pay attention to the dates to ensure that you are not relying on some dated story, an old story, basically trying to whip up sentiments and cause chaos. Then the other issue also is to pay attention to your there are times you have soft spots for things. So if you see any story that touches on that, easily you fall for that story. So you should pay attention to your own personal biases, because there are times you would see a story, and because it reaffirms your bias, you quickly believe that it is true. If you do that, you are able to quickly tell and read between the lines to know whether a story you are paying attention to or you are reading is true or false. So we look at all this, then we say that we as a fact-checking organization are paying attention to the digital space, because the traditional normative journalism that we've always been accustomed to, as I've mentioned, has journalists being more or less going through a sieving process before the news is put out there. But with the digital space and social media, anybody at all can go onto any of the social media platforms and create news. But that does not necessarily mean that it is accurate. So we go on there, we pay attention to some of the content that is put out there, we identify the suspicious ones, then we go through a process of investigating the claim, and look on out for publicly available sources to verify whether the claim is true or false. So it is not like we are only concentrating on claims that necessarily are supposed to be false. We go out there with a very open mind, whatever we investigate, if the claim is true, we put out that the claim is true. If it is false, we put out that the claim is false.
Okay, let's engage Mr. Williams here. Those fact check he help voters make informed choices.
Yes, I think it does, because as a voter, I think you need to be educated about who you're voting for. So let's say, for instance, there's misinformation or disinformation about a particular candidate, and it can instantly just switch your mind or just change your mind about who you want to vote for. So I think, especially during this time, which is the election time, I think fact-checking is very, very important, so that, because the truth is what we want. And I think everybody needs the truth. You need the truth to make the right decision. So it is very important, and I think it can influence a voter's mind.
How big is the fake news in the Gambia?
Fake news, I would say it's quite rampant. It's rising now, actually, because of the press freedom we have now and the social media that everyone is on. It's very easy for an individual to just go on social media and type something or post something, and it might not be true. And so these things can either go viral very, very easily. But then there's where we come in. There's where the training comes in, because when you're trained to be a fact checker, there are certain things you should look out for before it's something is fact check worthy. So you have to make sure something is viral. You have to make sure it goes viral. If it doesn't go viral, then you can double check. But you have to make sure it is viral before you fact check it. The source of interest also, people's interest comes into play. For example, politics, government, health, governance. So all these things play a part, and the source as well is also very important, the source at which the news is coming from. So I'd say in the Gambia, misinformation and disinformation is rising, and I think that's why fact-checking is very important at the moment.
If I could come in quickly, in other parts of the world, we've seen how the impact of misinformation has actually cost societies. With the January 6th insurrection that happened in the US is a clear example of how misinformation can be weaponized and used to sway people's opinion in one way or the other. Now, even the infodemic that came with the COVID-19 pandemic, all the misinformation and disinformation about where even the coronavirus is coming from, issues relating to cures with regards to the coronavirus, now that we have the vaccines, issues relating to the vaccine and whether it is efficacious or not, pushing out vaccine hesitancy amongst the public. So misinformation is dangerous, fake news is dangerous, so it is crucial that traditional media platforms rise to the occasion by building the capacity of journalists in the newsroom to be able to easily identify and verify misinformation, and actually making it a priority on mainstream media programming to bring fact-checking as part of even the news bulletin. If there is something going viral in your catchment area, it's important you help clarify the issues for the public. So, yeah.
Many a times people depend on, this goes to Williams, many a times when it's elections and other campaigns, people depend on media houses. Were you able to engage some of the media houses and the Gambia Press Union on how journalists should report certain stories?
Yes, so last week there was a training of journalists, I think about 25 journalists on fact-checking, which was organized by FactSpace West Africa in collaboration with the Gambia Press Union. So it was a 2-day training, very thorough training, and journalists from different media houses, both print and broadcast media, were there, and they were trained on how to properly fact-check claims. So I think, that's
so this is just a follow-up to your earlier statement, Mr. Al-Hassan, on reaching out to majority of the people. How are you engaging members of the public as well? Are you only active online, or do you have other means?
So to basically add to what he said before coming to your response, I think the Gambia Press Union has done a fantastic job within the last few months, helping build the capacity of journalists in the Gambia in terms of exposing them to digital literacy skills to be able to effectively debunk misinformation when they find them. So I think in the last 6 months, we've engaged the Gambia Press Union to do, I think, 3 different sets of trainings, 2 basically focusing on journalists from across media platforms, so online, print, traditional media, radio, and TV. Currently, we've built a network called the Gambia Fact Checking Network. It involves about 80 journalists and social media influencers. The last training we did involved some 25 media influencers. Now, to your question, it's important to situate whatever we are doing within the context that we should be able to understand the local dynamics to effectively deploy a strategy in terms of fact-checking. So we know that there are a lot of Gambians online, but a lot of Gambians also consume their news on radio and TV. Yeah. So whilst we've deployed an effort online via our own platform, which is FactSpace Gambia, and also working with the national fact-checking platform in the Gambia, FactCheck Gambia, we have also deployed some offline strategies as well to be able to reach the public, which includes working with the media houses that were represented by their journalists during the trainings in the Gambia Fact-Checking Network. So the journalists who are part of the network help in flagging suspicious claims. If we produce a fact check working with the journalists, we encourage the media platforms to also cross-publish these fact checks on their platforms. Whilst we also have a strategy which is to ensure that the fact checks are translated into the dominant local languages in the Gambia and pushed across media platforms, both social and traditional, so we can reach majority of the population.
Is there any difficulty that you people are facing when it comes to getting this information? Is there any challenges?
I think because the space is quite new and our interventions are limited by our capacity, and the volume of misinformation and disinformation we are seeing quite significantly outstrips the capacity that we have to effectively debunk them. All hands being on deck would be the way to go in terms of the collaboration that we've struck with traditional media platforms to be able to effectively counter some of the misinformation. I think largely it has to do with the volume of misinformation we are having to deal with compared to the capacity we have. But we are very grateful and happy that the population, the public, is seeing reason in what we are doing and are helping us in identifying some of the claims that we need to fact check. So we have a tip line where we encourage the public to send in some of these claims. I'll do well before we leave to share the tip line. I don't think I have it offhand. So the public can be encouraged. Anytime you see a suspicious claim, you can simply send it to us and we'll do the needful by investigating and publishing a fact check.
And in addition to that, do you have a website or maybe you know, active social media handles that one can always reach out to, especially when you have information that you do not, or you have doubts on, and you want to be sure that this is either right or not?
Definitely. So we have our presence on WhatsApp via the tip line, which we'll share with you. On Twitter, you can get us at FactSpace GM, and also FactSpace WA, which is FactSpace West Africa and FactSpace Gambia. On Instagram, you can get us also FactSpace WA. On Facebook, we are also there as FactSpace Gambia. We have a platform, factspace.org, where you can get content in relation to what we've done in Ghana and also in the Gambia. But specifically for the Gambia, that's FactSpace Gambia.
Yeah. All right, thank you. We've almost come to the end of this segment. But William, any other thing you would like to share with the people watching? And even a word of advice as well, because this is a very sensitive period.
Yeah, I think if I'm to add on anything, Rabiu has said is that, I said it before, we're in a very critical period. So I think everyone needs to make sure that the information they're putting out or the information they're consuming is factual. So if at all you see information that you're not sure about, instead of sharing it to a large audience, I think what you should do is share it to us, the fact checkers. And what we'll do is we'll rectify and we'll confirm whether it's factual or not. Because sharing fake information at this particular moment in time can be very, very dangerous.
Yes. Thank you very much, William and Rabiu, for joining us on this morning. And we are hoping to have you here again.
Indeed.
Yes. Well, viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be back. We have an information to share with you. We'll be back.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, Q Money and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your Q Money account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any Q Money agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, Q Power, and other Q Money services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that break. And of course, you're watching QTV this morning, and it's unfortunate we will not be able to bring you the live view from the State House presentation of the TRRC report. But yes.
Yeah, but it will be coming in the news tonight.
The 8 p.m. news.
8 p.m.
So,
and 10 p.m. You can
yes.
follow QTV, and it will be
Exactly.
brought to you live.
So you have an information you want to share?
Yes, it's actually a very important press release from the Ministry of Health, and it reads, the Ministry of Health would like to inform the public that following the awarding of the contract for the renovation of the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital at a cost of over $160 million, construction works will start soon in phases. The construction, once commenced, may pose some challenges to patients and visitors in affected areas, particularly the accident and emergency unit during the period. Therefore, all accident and other emergency cases in adult will be temporarily seen at AFSTH Bakau Center, formerly called Nemban Clinic, starting 24th November 2021. During the renovation phase, all referrals meant for the accident and emergency unit at the AFSTH in Banjul are requested to go to AFSTH Bakau Center. However, maternity-related cases will continue to be seen at AFSTH in Banjul. The Ministry of Health is therefore soliciting the support and cooperation of the public and all health facilities during the period of the renovation works at the AFSTH in Banjul. The release ends. Important message.
A very important message. It's important that we receive such messages. And so it's like this is all we have on the program today. We didn't have Click No Sports.
Indeed, but I mean, it was an interesting show, and yeah, we look forward to another interesting one next week, especially on Monday, inshallah. And we're wishing everyone a good weekend.
Well, thank you very much, viewers, for watching. One Stop Water Solutions is the place to be, the sponsors of this program for all your water dispensers and filters. Until we come your way again Monday, have a beautiful weekend.
set te ndox mu set dafa bokk ci dunni doomu aadama te biir kat amul seetu waral na lépp lu fay dugg dafa war a doon li nga xamante ne ni lu indil doomu aadama bi loraange ci wàllu wérgu yaram One Stop Water Solution Limited ñu ngi fii ci biir réew taxaw temm fexe pour gis ne doomu aadama bu ne di nga naan ndox moo xamante ne ni ndex mu sell te wóor la ndax indil nañ leen ay xeetu filtres yi nga xamante ne ni mun ngeen koy jëfandikoo ci seeni pompe yi ci biir réew moo xam booxool ngay jëfandikoo wala pompe nawek yi ne bépp xeetu filtre bi nga xamante ne ni dina la indil wérgu yaram musal la ci loraange amal nañ leen ko ci biir réew am nañ 10-inch filter set of 3 bii nag ñett lay àndal bu ci ne ak li muy liggéey bokk na ci 5 micron pp sediment filter bii nag mooy segg ndox mi ba mu set génne fa lépp li nga xamante ne ni warta ànd ak ndox moomu bala nga koy jëfandikoo gak granule carbon filter bii nag mooy segg génne lépp lu xeetoog chemical ak organique yi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo nekk ci biir ndox mi sellal ndox mi ba waral mu soppi li nga xamante ne moom la ndox mi di saf mu soppi cafin gi def ko ndox mu sell te óor CTO block carbon filter bii nag du yem rek ci segg ndox mi sellal ko ba mu sell waaye nag daf koy yokk ay ngéneel yi nga xamante ne ni day baax ci wérgu yaramu doomu aadama bi dëgëral waaye tamit yàggal lool sa yuur wi am nañ tamit 12-inch filter set of 3 boobu it liggéey bu nu mel lay def ñetti filter yépp benn bu ne ak lu muy liggéey am nañ 10-inch post carbon 10-inch coconut carbon 75 GPD pure one membrane bi amal nañ leen bépp xeetu water tank tàmbalee ko ci 500 litres 5000 ba ci 1000 litres ak plumbing fittings kon nag mbokk yi bu ngeen buggee naan ndex yu sell te wóor seeti leen One Stop Water Solution Limited suñu makkaan bu mag baa nga foofa ca Sukuta Highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala nga call ñu ci 505 5691 796 8272 One Stop Water Solution Limited ndox mu set mooy yàggal dund ni doomu